Trademark wars. Okay, I really haven't had wars over trademarks, so I guess the title is clickbait. But one aspect of making and marketing your own game is your game's title. And this involves making sure you're not infringing on someone else's title. Now, the way Petersen Games does this is we pay a trademark copyright lawyer that we trust to search for our name and anything like it and tell us if he thinks it violates our trademark. Lawyers in general are really cowardly and don't ever want lawsuits. I don't mean this as a bad thing. They're being cowardly on behalf of your company's safety. I guess there are infamous shark lawyers always looking for an aggressive edge, but I think they're more common in movies and books than real life. My experience is that they always advise inaction or caution. Anyway, I'm not going to give you legal advice about how to name your game. Instead, I'm going to tell you 4 of my experiences with the copyrighted names and how it turned out. And you can see how companies I was with dealt with it. You might find it useful. In 1981, Chaosium published Worlds of Wonder. It was like a compilation role-playing game. Shortly thereafter, we were contacted by a toy company who also wanted to use the name Worlds of Wonder. They were kind of secretive about what they wanted to use it for. It turns out it was Teddy Ruxpin, because naturally they didn't want Chaosium to jack up our price and gouge them. Well, we went ahead and sold the name to them. I don't know how much we got. My guess is $10,000 to $20,000. We weren't supposed to publish under the name Worlds of Wonder after that, but since we weren't planning to continue the product beyond the first print run, that wasn't a big deal. Now, I think the Teddy Ruxpin guys went about it in exactly the right way. We were happy. They were protected, and by concealing their true wealth from us, they limited how much we got. At least that's what they thought. The truth is, we totally knew that they were super rich or why contact us at all. But on the other hand, instead of trying to gouge them for the most possible money, we settled for 5 digits, maybe 6 tops, for a product that we'd expect to get 0 money for ending production. So hey, win-win. Next story. In 1983, Chaosium was about to publish our expansion for RuneQuest named Borderlands. Now, I did a lot of work on Borderlands. I think it may have been the very first boxed role-playing game campaign ever. So it was a landmark. I'm very proud of the work on it. But we noticed just before release, we didn't have a copyright lawyer because Chaosium was nothing if not amateurish, that Eon Games had a whole board game called Borderlands. So our solution was we phoned Eon Games and asked for permission to use their name for our non-board game product. And they, being gaming geeks and nice guys, said yes. They did make us change our name to RuneQuest Borderlands. Hey, no biggie. So I think that went well too. Basically, we were both people of goodwill who liked and respected each other when we met at conventions. So we were able to take care of it without any money changing hands. All went well. Sadly, the board game Borderlands is now quite difficult to get. It was a great game though, so I recommend trying to find it if you can. The third case was when my company now, Petersen Games, was working on the game that became Eternal Adversary. Now, initially, we wanted to call it Chaos Rifts. Well, when we announced our game, Palladium Games contacted us with a big lawyerly scare letter calling us to cease and desist because they owned the name Rifts, which they did, and us using Chaos Rifts obviously violated their trademark, and if we did it, they'd sue for $1 billion. The letter was pretty hostile. I don't think Palladium was actually feeling that hostile. They just wanted to scare us. We were a little bemused. In fact, our copyright lawyer told us in no uncertain terms that we could absolutely use the name Chaos Rifts and Palladium didn't have a leg to stand on. But, like I said earlier, since as I said earlier, lawyers advised caution, we felt pretty safe. Yes, Palladium could still sue because you can always sue, but we also felt that they couldn't really pursue a lawsuit. My theory is the Palladium thought, or maybe their advisors thought, that a threatening letter would scare us off. But what we decided to do was look carefully at the name Chaos Rifts and say, you know what? It's not that good a name. If we had to, we could find another. Why mess with Palladium? So we wrote back to Palladium and said, we'll change our game's name if you give us some money. And they did. So we got some cash from Palladium for a name that wasn't necessarily our favorite, and it all turned out well. Were we pranking Palladium? Not really. We would totally used Chaos Rifts if not for their letter, so the Rifts franchise was safe. Still, this, one of the more hostile of my personal copyright interactions turned out well from our point of view. You might feel that Eternal Adversary is not necessarily the perfect name either, but hey, it's as good as Chaos Rifts for our purposes. We've had one more experience recently where we found that there was a company that had published a book, a gaming book, so to speak, based on game kind of ideas, which used the name of one of our games. This is kind of still up in the air, so I'm not going to give you the facts, but basically they used the name of one of our products. Since it wasn't Evil High Priest, let's say it's Evil High Priest. They had a game that basically was called Evil High Priest, or a product. So we called them and said, hey, you know what? We have the copyright to Evil High Priest. Again, it's not really Evil High Priest, but whatever. And we would like you to cease and desist. And they said, well, we have these items in stock. Can we at least sell out of them? We said, yes, you can totally sell out of them. But the next print run, you have to change the name. So that was the agreement. And so we felt that went well. We didn't ask for money. They didn't ask for money. We just made the agreement. We then found that they had put it on Kindle, which kind of concerned us because then it never runs out of print. But so we're in touch with see how it goes. So those are my experiences in trademarks. You may use or ignore them as you see fit. Don't forget to like me. Don't forget to subscribe to me. You can get notifications if you don't remember. I do it every Friday. And buy my stuff. For example, you can buy this item right now at my store. Thanks.